to No Recipe Required. I'm Dave, and tonight I'm going to show you a bit of a different spaghetti sauce, one that I just discovered off of that the PBS show, Lydia Does Italy. I love the show, and this recipe kind of blew my socks off when I saw it. It is a white bolognese, using a lot of the same principles that we use in a traditional bolognese sauce, which has quite a bit of tomato in it. But this one substitutes the tomato, puts in a little bit more cream, a little bit more milk, and obviously comes out not so red. It is absolutely delicious, and I think you're going to love it. Let's show you how to do it.
Okay, so for our white bolognese, what we want to do, I want to get my, what am I calling it, mirepoix, down to the level where it just kind of melts into the sauce. And so I want to show you how to take a normal, set of mirepoix. I've got carrots, onions, celery. I've got actually a few garlic cloves in there as well. And we're going to mince them super fine so that as we cook them over the next few hours, like I said, they just kind of melt away and disappear in the sauce. Now you can do this by hand, but it takes a lot of time and effort and manpower. The easier way to do it is with our food processor, and I've just got everything in there, kind of coarsely chopped. And what you want to do is pulse it. Probably it's going to end up probably being 20 times, and you just kind of keep going for a few seconds at a time until you get everything really finely chopped and diced. You may kind of halfway through want to come down and just scrape down the sides to make sure there isn't any big chunks of anything sitting around. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on our white bolognese, or this is sometimes called a white meat sauce. I've got a couple tablespoons of butter and about a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm just going to put it in a pan over medium heat, and then I've got our minced up mirepoix, carrot, onion, celery. I've also got 4 or 5 garlic cloves in there, and I'm going to get all that into the pan with my butter and olive oil. I'm going to try not to serve up a giant blade. We'll throw a good pinch of salt on our paste here, our minced vegetables, a good bit of fresh black pepper. And then you just want to kind of cook these over medium heat. The liquid in the vegetables is going to obviously heat up and start evaporating. If you need to add some more oil, you certainly can. Once that water starts evaporating, the vegetables are going to start sticking to the bottom just a little bit, which is why you want to use medium heat. You don't want to burn anything. Stir it every 2 or 3 minutes. You don't have to be constantly in there going like that or anything like that. Once everything's soft though, and that water is evaporated, we're going to come back, start doing our next steps. Okay, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes after you add the paste here, you're going to start noticing the onions and celery, garlic, all that kind of sticking to the bottom just a little bit. That's exactly what you want. You're also going to notice kind of the texture changes. It becomes a little tighter. There's obviously a little bit less water in there. That is the time we're going to add our meat. Now I'm using ground pork, ground beef, and I've diced up some pancetta in there. So 3 different types of meats. You can certainly do it with only one, but I like the multiple flavors you get from the combination. You can also use almost any ground meat, right? Ground chicken, ground turkey. You go exotic, put in ground kangaroo for all I care. But essentially all you're going to do is just add that meat, start breaking it up and sauteing it, brown it all the way through, and let the juices kind of run out of the meat, and they too will largely evaporate. That's probably going to take you about 15 minutes or so, and I'd say every 3 or 4 minutes you just want to come back again over medium-high heat and kind of turn everything over so you get it all kind of cooked through as quickly as you can. So after about 15-20 minutes, like I said, the meat's going to be browned. You want to just move it around, make sure again nothing's sticking. But once it is brown, if you find there's a tremendous amount of fat, you may want to reduce it. I think mine's okay. So what I'm going to do is add about a cup of white wine. You don't have to be exact. And I'm just going to let that cup of white wine come to a simmer, or come to a boil, and then simmer down until it is pretty well reduced. You're going to want to get the sauce or the meat looking essentially like it did before you added the wine. quite a bit down. We're going to come back, add some herbs, some milk, some stock, some other great, wonderful stuff. So I've let my wine reduce down quite a bit now. It's almost all kind of evaporated out. So what we're going to do now is kind of, well, we're not going to finish it all. We're going to add kind of some of the core ingredients to our bolognese. A little salt and pepper in prep for about 1.5 cups of cream or heavy milk, kind of depending on your preferences. I'm going to add in there. And then I'm also going to add some herbs. I've got a sprig of rosemary, a few of thyme. Let me get the woody parts out there. And I'm also going to give this, although this is a white bolognese, I do like a little bit of tomato in there, just a couple tablespoons. By no means is that going to, give it a tomato flavor or dynamic or anything like that. Just going to give it, a little bit more complexity in the flavor. And I am also going to grab a couple bay leaves and throw them in here. I forgot to grab the bay leaves, so I'm going to do it off camera. And I'm just going to cover this, bring it up to a simmer, and let it reduce for probably an hour or so. This is a sauce that I'm going to cook for about 5 in total. Okay, so my bolognese, white bolognese, is cooked for about 1.5 hours, and everything's getting nice and tender. I'm just going to add a little bit of chicken stock, like 1.5 cups. I'll call it a cup. I want it fairly loose because what I'm going to do is continue to simmer it, but I'm going to leave kind of the lid open like that, and just let some of that liquid evaporate out. And that's going to continue to thicken, concentrate the flavors, and make sure everything gets tender. You want to make sure you add a little bit of that liquid so that things don't get too dry in the pan and anything starts sticking or burning. Okay, so our sauce is thickened up nicely. I've simmered it for probably another 1.5 hours, 2 hours. I'm going to add a couple final ingredients. I like to grate just a little bit of fresh nutmeg right over the top. Nutmeg in kind of bolognese or meat sauces like this, I really love it. It gives kind of a nice background flavor that is a little bit unusual, but very, very tasty. I've got some Parmesan cheese that I'm going to grate into it. Probably 3 or 4 tablespoons worth that we get in. And then along with that Parmesan cheese, kind of as an optional step, is a little bit of fresh ricotta cheese. Again, just a couple tablespoons. And this mixes in with all the the sauce that's in there and gives it kind of a creamier texture. And obviously, because of the color, lightens up the dish as well, and it's kind of consistent with that white bolognese. I don't like to add a ton because when we mix this with the pasta, the starch in the pasta itself is going to thicken the sauce a little bit. I just want to add a little bit of richness and unctuousness to the sauce. When you see, now's the time, when you see like the stems from the rosemary and thyme, you can just pull those out. They've given up their flavor. They've done everything we want them to do, and nobody really wants a big piece of stem in their dish. And we're pretty much good to go. I'm just going to let that nutmeg kind of melt in there and blend in for probably half an hour. Then we're ready to serve. Okay, so after about another half an hour or so, your white bolognese is absolutely done, cooked to perfection, and delicious. So I will see you next time on No Recipe Required.